Across Oklahoma, the twisters left a trail of destruction. Dozens of people injured. The governor there declaring a state of emergency. In Sulphur, one of the hardest hit communities, homes and businesses there destroyed. The powerful winds flipped over cars, ripped away roofs, and downed power lines, leaving thousands in Oklahoma in the dark tonight. More than 130 tornadoes have been reported just since Thursday, and the severe weather threat continues tonight from Missouri to Texas.
Oh my God, this is massive.
Tonight, at least 5 people are dead, including a 4-month-old baby, and dozens are injured after more than 130 reported tornadoes ripped through several states in the South and Midwest.
Powerful tornado right here.
In Minden, Iowa, several people were injured and 1 person killed, as officials say nearly half the homes there have been destroyed. Omaha, Nebraska also hit hard. Trees ripped from the ground, homes gone.
Pretty devastating. It was my wife and I's dream home. We're thankful to be alive.
In Marietta, Oklahoma, where 1 person lost their life, this tractor trailer tossed off of this road. The governor of Oklahoma declaring a state of emergency, saying he's never seen anything like this.
You just can't believe the destruction. Like, it seems like every business in downtown has been destroyed now.
It's just so sad to look up and down the street and see what used to be and is not now. And to know that there's so many people that are really suffering right now.
The damage in the community of Sulphur is extensive. Now crews have arrived here to the town to help clean up. You can see the roofs here collapsing onto a car. It is going to be a long recovery. Julie Cox ran this small boutique for 13 years in Sulphur. We walked with her as she saw her business for the first time after the tornadoes hit. The building gutted, the awning above the storefront ripped off, those windows shattered.
You don't know how much real damage is done to you. See it with your own eyes.
When you heard that there was a tornado touching down in Sulphur, what was going through your mind?
I just started praying. That's all we can do.
And despite the devastating damage, she tells us she will rebuild.
Yeah, we'll get through it.
Well, in fact, a McKinsey study recently suggested that we're going to require almost what California currently demands in electricity onto the American electric grid because of AI alone, because of new AI and data centers. 88% more electricity is going to be required just for that alone. And then you pile on top of that new mandates for electric vehicles and, of course, new electrification that this Biden administration is putting on to the electric grid. The consequence of that could be dramatic. It could mean decreased reliability for American consumers. So we need policies in place in this country that are advancing more energy.
Good evening and welcome to It's Too Late. But wait, it's not too late. Or is it too late? If you've lost your house, it's probably too late, but it's not too late because they're looking for you. You may have money coming to you. That's true. I know it sounds convoluted, but listen, it's been ruled unconstitutional for cities to take your property if you just owe them property tax. And when you hear this story, it's going to be like, oh my goodness, you won't believe this story. But the fact is, there are people that are owed money right now. But the sad thing is they're probably sleeping on the streets and they don't have internet connection and they have no idea. Their life is now in ruins. They once had a paid off piece of property and a city came in and just took it away from them. You owe $5,000. Give me your house.
It's a really wonderful resource for the community.
These woods and this house used to belong to a man named Stephen Woodbridge.
Around 2019, he started to have financial problems with the towns.
Stephen fell behind on his taxes, totaling $5,700. With interest and fees, his debt increased to $54,000, which he couldn't pay. In 2019, the city of Greenfield foreclosed on his home and 19 acres of his land. The city then sold his home and some of the land for $270,000 and kept the profit of more than $200,000.
It was his equity. He didn't even have it in the bank. It was all in that house.
Gone.
Yeah, gone. In one morning, gone.
Activist Al Norman has been fighting this process, known as equity theft, here in Greenfield for years.
I had some neighbors come to me and say, Al, they're taking our home. They want all of our money. It's every single penny that we have in our house, which is mortgage-free. We've paid it off. They want every penny.
Al helped his neighbors retain a lawyer, pay off what they owed, and keep their home. But that experience made him wonder how many other residents had lost everything And could he help them too? Then last year, after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled unanimously it's unconstitutional for cities and towns to foreclose on a home, sell it, and pocket the profits, Al put a notice in his local newspaper.
Yeah, it says, searching for former city property owners who may be owed money. If anybody knows the whereabouts of these people, be in touch with us.
That's how he found Stephen Woodbridge and Roberta Browning, who lived at this home. Roberta fell behind on her taxes by $1,500. That increased to $15,000 with interest and fees. The city foreclosed, sold her home, and kept the profits. Al talked Stephen and Roberta, who both declined to be interviewed for this story, into taking legal action to get back their life savings. And he connected them with attorney Michael Alio.
This is about the Fifth Amendment. The Fifth Amendment says that government is not allowed to take private property without just compensation.
They filed this federal lawsuit against the city of Greenfield, demanding the city pay them for their homes.
Mr. Woodbridge's property was taken. It was worth multiples of what he owed the city. Roberta Browning's property was taken. It was worth multiples of what she owed the city. The city should pay Mr. Woodbridge and should pay Ms. Browning that surplus amount.
The city of Greenfield filed a motion to dismiss the lawsuit. The judge has yet to rule on that. City officials did not respond to our requests for a comment. If the lawsuit is successful, the hope is it could have ramifications far beyond Greenfield.
The municipalities across the Commonwealth would almost certainly owe excess of multiple millions of dollars.
I have no doubt at all that it's just a matter of time that we will be able to see people lining up to file claims and getting their money back.
Now, while Stephen and Roberta wait for a judge to rule on their case, several bills to fix the law in Massachusetts are stalled on Beacon Hill, waiting for action from the state legislature.
Wow, it's almost like the government has a vested interest in making you homeless. You know what I mean? Well, you know how the homeless grift works, and then this is just this new caveat to it where they actually steal your house from you. Anyways, in this next story, we did a piece on it before. You know, they take you out in a lot quicker way, you know, in that pre-dawn raid. Well, now the state government is interested. There are state lawmakers. The whole state is up in arms. They just want answers. I said they just want answers. You're not going to get answers because it's the FBI, and they're not going to give any answers. All they're going to do is look at everybody who asks questions. Ooh.
Thank you, Barry. Well, state lawmakers are demanding answers from the ATF about the pre-dawn house raid in March that led to the shooting death of Brian Malinowski, the late executive director of Bill and Hillary Clinton National Airport. Channel 7's Andrew Mobley was at the press conference today and has more.
Legislators, as well as the Attorney General, are calling for the ATF to release body cam footage from the deadly raid.
We want the truth to come out, and so that's why my legislative colleagues are here, and Representative Duffield and I are calling on the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms to immediately release the body cam footage of the raid at Mr. Malinowski's home.
It has been a month. We have seen nothing. We have heard nothing. We have been presented nothing.
The Malinowski family's attorney has released security camera footage from both Malinowski's house and a neighbor's. In the videos, it is not clear if ATF agents announced their presence or identified themselves prior to breaking down Malinowski's door. According to a heavily redacted affidavit, Malinowski exchanged gunfire with ATF agents, striking one. Agents returned fire and killed Malinowski. His family and many in the public are questioning the ATF's tactics and its lack of transparency.
Why the pre-dawn raid? Did they not? If they didn't, why not? Were they wearing the required body cameras? And where the hell is the footage?
I get fearful when I see this type of pre-dawn raid simply to execute a search warrant to a valued member of our community, not some former gangster with a rap sheet or drug convictions that needs to have a no-knock warrant issued.
The affidavit that allowed the search warrant for the raid said Malinowski had broken federal laws by selling guns without a federal firearms license at gun shows. The Malinowski family's attorney says they're still in shock and awaiting answers from the ATF.
His wife and family know, fairly little about why the federal government investigated him with such heavy-handed tactics. All we can glean from the affidavit is they believed he had crossed some subjective line where he should no longer be considered a hobbyist and should have been considered a person engaged in the business of selling firearms. And if he was that, he needed to buy a $200 license he didn't have. So nobody told him that. Nobody wrote him a letter. Nobody sent him a cease and desist letter. They kicked his door in at 6 in the morning and shot him in the head. So a lot of people are scratching their heads wondering how that's proportional.
The facts are that this was a search warrant that had been issued. That's all it was. And my concern is that could happen to any one of us as Arkansans.
Malinowski's death is under investigation by the Arkansas State Police, and they will hand over their findings to the Pulaski County prosecutor, who may determine if charges against the ATF are appropriate. On your side, I'm Andrew Mobley.
Okay, our government's rolling out a big old e-safety program, as you can see, and they want your feedback. They want to know, you know, what are some of your ideas about how they can keep you safer? You know. Anyways, I won't go into it in a big long rant, but please leave your feedback in the comments below. I'd appreciate that. I know they would too.
Say they're paying over $200 a month for water they can't even drink. Certified lab tests show that it's actually radioactive. These people who live in the Prairie View Ranch Water District in Morgan County say without clean water, their homes are worthless. Well, tonight, your investigator, Sha Boyd, discovers this could have all been prevented. Sean joins us tonight. Sean, what a nightmare. Sounds awful.
It is a colossal disaster, nearly 20 years in the making. I have never seen so many government agencies botch things so badly, potentially putting the health of nearly 140 people at risk.
I moved here June 5th, 2020.
4 years after moving to Prairie View Ranch in Morgan County, Jesse McCoppin is disillusioned and disgusted.
That is our drinking water that we serve to the community.
He has water he can't drink, a home he can't sell, and hundreds of documents he almost can't believe.
The finances don't work, the elections don't line up with the dates, the signatures don't look real.
And safeguards at Prairie View Ranch Water District are missing entirely, leading to this black sludge with radioactive lead and uranium.
I don't even use water to brush my teeth.
Sheila Brown says it should have never come to this. She contacted the Water Quality Division in 2007, and it refused to intervene, saying the state doesn't regulate water systems that serve fewer than 25 people, even though this system was in violation of state regulations that require design plans be approved before construction. It was built with no approval, no regulatory oversight, and no centralized treatment.
You're told basically from CDPHE, good luck, right?
Yeah, you're on your own.
It would take another 10 years before the state would step in. By then, the damage was done.
Every square inch of this place doesn't meet the regulations that engineers require for public water system infrastructure.
It wasn't just the infrastructure. The Water Quality Division discovered the water itself had unsafe levels of manganese and issued notices requiring developers warn residents, notices they ignored. Developers were also warned not to make any unapproved improvements or modifications to the system. Apparently, selling water taps isn't an improvement or modification. They sold dozens more to unsuspecting residents, and the state and county didn't stop them.
County Health Department and county commissioners and zoning had a responsibility to stop more people from getting dragged into this mess, and they just turned a complete blind eye to it.
McCoppin says Morgan County should have intervened before the system was even built. Special districts are tax-exempt government entities, but the Water District was set up as a private for-profit company with a board run by developers and their families. And yet, both Morgan County commissioners and a district court judge signed off on it.
There are so many pieces of paper that show wrongdoing that were then accepted by this agency or that clerk or whatever, Why didn't somebody notice earlier?
It gets worse. McCoppin says when he and neighbor Sam Belmonte took control of the board in late 2021, they discovered $1 million missing. The state auditor's office, which exempted the district from financial audits for years, is now penalizing residents. The district attorney's office won't investigate. The attorney general's office won't even respond other than an automated reply. And the state has yet to take enforcement action despite nearly 200 violations. It advised residents
I pour my water in here
to drink bottled water, even as some pay more than $200 a month in water bills.
Would you pay $200 a month for water you can't use? There's no accountability. None. Zero.
The developers, Doria Gibbs and John Pearson, declined an interview but claimed they hired a licensed engineer to design the system and thought it had been approved by the state. Residents say it is now beyond repair and they don't have millions of dollars to replace it. Their only other option to have another water district take over, but they say developers have refused to give up the water rights. And the state says it will take enforcement action by the end of the month if violations aren't resolved. Meanwhile, these residents paying thousands of dollars for filters and tests, they say if there's fines on top of that, it'll sink the district.
And disgusted, just horrible water.
It is.
Yeah, thank you for uncovering this and sharing this.
Leaf blowers started at 7 a.m. and it's gone on for 5 hours here at the state park. The 2 days I've been here. He's over behind that tree somewhere. Oh, it stopped. Oh no, it's back. A leaf blower is the most ridiculous thing ever invented. Hey, he stopped. Just get a rake. The ground's wet. It's not working with a leaf blower. When you blow with a leaf blower on a wet leaf, it doesn't move anywhere, and he can't figure that out.
Okay, that's your government in action, folks. Your tax dollars at work. That was one of my favorite YouTubers, Matty Van Halen. Please go subscribe to his channel. He's a great van lifer, adventurer. It's a soothing thing to watch. You guys are awesome. It's too late, and it's time to go to bed. See you guys in the morning for the Bad Apple Report, 7:30 a.m. Have a good night.